Hello, welcome to another episode of Pour Us. Today, Aaron and I are going to take a peek at 3 different whiskeys we've never had before.
Well, Aaron and I talk about how we watch a lot of these hunting videos and reviews, and so many times the person doing it, and no fault of their own, they'll point out a bottle that they haven't had and then go buy something that they have had plenty of times, and they walk right past them.
It's crazy. All the time. We see these in videos or talk to people. Oh, I've heard of that. Oh, what's it like? I never tried it.
Yeah.
It's like, just pick up that bottle every once in a while. Get the one you like. But then maybe grab one you've seen before or heard somebody talk about and give it a shot. You never know what you're going to find.
Well, and the nice thing about these 3 in particular is they're all under $30. We have a $15, $27, and $25 bottle of straight bourbons. 2 of them are Kentucky. The other is a blend. But again, think about how much a pour of nice whiskey costs or 2 pours of nice whiskey costs. Sometimes just instead grab that extra bottle that you've seen people talk about.
Yeah, I feel lucky in that you have quite the collection here and at the Whiskey Biscuit. So I've had the opportunity throughout my education of whiskey to sample 2 to 3 to 4 different whiskeys against a whiskey I like. And figure out what I like about this one and what I like about that one. And it makes me a little more adventurous and eager to go out and try some that I haven't had, because I have now some that I truly enjoy that I probably would have never tried on my own.
Well, and also the idea that so many people come into the Whiskey Biscuit and say, I don't like rye. They've tried one rye. They said they didn't like it. They don't all taste the same.
No.
Try a couple different versions of that style of whiskey and see what you like. And also, the blends are different with all those. You might have tried one that had a different proportion of rye to something else that made you not like that particular rye. Don't say you don't like them if you've only tried 1 or 2.
That's the one thing that has always stuck with me from the beginning is you said, just because you don't like that wheated bourbon doesn't mean you don't like wheated bourbons. And then we did a blind taste test. Turns out I do like some wheated bourbons, but I had to remove that thought process from my head. There are over 22,000 different whiskeys. You got to get out and try a few of them besides the staples that everybody kind of knows.
Well, and you even have your 3 kind of priority things that you always say you would like to remove: the bias, the brand name, and the cost, right? Those are your 3 that you always have been saying since we've been doing this.
Totally.
And if you can legitimately do that and not say, well, this is always my favorite whiskey, so I've got to like it, that's where the blind comes in.
Well, and especially when you're starting out, you don't exactly know where to start because there are so many. So when a friend or a few friends say, oh, this is really good, and it's a $300 bottle of whiskey, and everybody likes it, there's already something in your mind that is telling you, I've got to like this. If we do the full black Glencairns, we don't know the price, don't know the cost, truly remove all those bias. Blind taste tests are one of the best things you can do when you're trying new whiskey.
Oh, yeah. And it's fun.
It's fun.
Just so many people have this preconceived notion that they don't like this distillery. They don't like this whiskey. And you put them up with stuff that you know they like or have had before, and it's amazing how many times people end up going, oh, geez, this is a great whiskey. So this is a Kentucky straight bourbon, 80 proof, just basically what would be a mixer kind of whiskey. So this is a straight bourbon. It's not a Kentucky like the other 2. It's straight bourbon. It's got a high corn bill. I think it's going to be a little bit more sweeter. It's distilled in, it can't be a Kentucky because it's distilled in Kentucky and Indiana, correct?
Yes.
But then they do their blending and bottling in California. David Nicholson, 1843. That's 100 proof. Again, Kentucky straight. It was actually a grocer back in 1843 was distilling it in his back room of his grocery store. And odd thing about this that surprised me when I was doing a little bit of reading, this was actually was at one point part of the Pappy and Weller family. It was actually distilled at the Stitzler Distillery for quite a while.
Now you're putting biases in my mind.
Oh, that's true. But I think I don't want to.
It's got to be better.
I don't want to hold it to the year, but I think it's like maybe in 2000 is when they got sold to a Luxcore. So this is actually a Luxcore brand now.
Okay.
So which we haven't done a lot with LuxCore, so we'll have to look into that potentially. But let's get started. I mean, it's more about let's try these out. So I opened up a bottle of whiskey yesterday, and I popped the cork, and it had the smoke and the like mist hanging in that bottleneck. And I was kind of wondering, like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is that a good sign of a whiskey pop or a bad sign?
I don't know.
But anyway, okay, so we'll start with the Silas Jones. Again, 80 proof Kentucky straight bourbon.
And these run about $15 a bottle?
Yes, for $7.50. The pricing on all these is going to be the $7.50 price. And Colorado pricing.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of banana on the nose already.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lighter Jack Daniels.
It is it's a lighter, smoother. It's got a little bit of, that sweetness to it on the nose and right off the front.
Well, that banana that I get from Jack Daniels, this has that banana.
I don't want to say watered down Jack Daniels, but a lighter Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think if you like because Jack Daniels isn't the cheapest, the Old 7, but $15. Might have to try Randy against this blind Randy on this.
Yeah, well, that'd be fun. In the end, that's a smooth drink. I think
very smooth.
When I think of like a $15 bottle of whiskey, I'm like kind of prepare myself. I wonder if it's just like undershooting what it could be versus expecting more than what I'm getting. So it's like, that's actually not bad. I could see sipping that.
I'm very surprised with that. I also, though, think about how much money goes into marketing for Jack Daniels and all those products that they have to get the money for in the bottles. I've never seen advertising for this. So
Old number 3.5.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good one.
Let's move on to the
Kentucky Walker.
And again, this is the one that says Kentucky Walker is the one that's not the Kentucky bourbon.
Right.
So, but it is a straight bourbon, so at least 2 years. And I think, wasn't it saying 4 years on it?
4 year, yep. High corn mash bill, aged 4 years. Distilled in Kentucky and Indiana. Seems like it's going to have a little bit of that cheaper heat that I used to say in this off the nose.
Kentucky Walker primarily refers to a bourbon whiskey. It is described as a pure bourbon blend that adheres to traditional methods, with a prominent mashed corn bill.
Shut up!
Sweet, crisp flavors derived.
Nobody asked you.
My mom got me one of those Alexis boxes.
Alexa,
and it drives me insane because I don't use it. Every now and then I'll be watching a show, and they'll make a reference towards music or something, and then it scares the crap out of me because I'm alone at night, and somebody from the kitchen says, playing this now, and music will go off.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely listening.
Yes.
Whoever they are.
I like this. I mean, I like a little more burn in a lot of my stuff, and I'm not expecting much burn in any of these, but... Well, 27, so this is the expensive one of the three.
Okay. See, I get a little more of the synthetic type of taste that I've talked about before. And it's got a flavor to it. I could see how some people would like it. But I would lean towards Silas Jones over the Kentucky Walker so far.
See, and I lean towards this, and again, nothing against Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels is a fine product, but for me, it's more of a mixer. I just am not the biggest fan, typically, of that banana, front forward
See,
banana.
I'm getting that
I got a lot
of this.
Are you? See,
yeah.
I'm not getting that as much.
And I know we have opposites sometimes as far as heat and flavors go, which goes to show you taste is subjective because that's why we all have different favorites.
Okay, let's go to the 1843. It's got a lot more farm on the nose.
Sure does.
I'm just trying to decide if I like the flavor or I don't. I think this falls into the category of what I've said when there are times that I want more of the wheat forward, like Bear Creek's wheat or even Mellow Corn wheat. I know it's not wheat, but I get that kind of a hint of it. So this is something that I think I would really enjoy when I'm in that mood for it. I think kind of the big question is this something, though, as a non-mixer, if you are trying to try something new for whiskey and you want to keep within a budget, Are any of these, all of these, one of these, something that you would feel comfortable sitting in the backyard and sipping?
Right. Well, and it's hard because it's the first time that we've had it for me to be like, oh, I'll go get another one of these. What I would do personally is, now that I've tried these, take one that I think I might like or not like and put it against one or two that I already know and that I do like, and then do a blind taste test. And that's where I'll truly be, that's when I get a better grasp of like being able to compare this whiskey to this whiskey. And it's not that any of these three are bad. If I got a pour of any of these three, I'd be happy with it. The price point's there, but it's, I would now take something similar to that, maybe another wheated bourbon that I like, and then put it against one or two of those, and then see where it sits in that realm. So what would you put against, like this one is a little bit lighter. I love the Early Times Bottled and Bond. That's my everyday sipper, my go-to. Is, I don't even price point or not, like I have bottles of that. I would put Silas Jones next to like an Early Times.
Yeah, not the Bottled and Bond Early Times, but the regular Early Times.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Yep. Or the Bottled and Bond, but I think the Bottled and Bond will win that one just because I already have that bias in my head. And then this against like a wheated or a Weller. A Weller isn't really a fair fight, but maybe some of them, or a Whistle Pig maybe.
I actually think for what I'm getting out of it, which again is a lot more of that wheat and that more straw farm kind of feel. And I know this is more local, but the Bear Creek, not wheated bourbon, but the Bear Creek wheat. Okay. And see how those go against each other. Because I get a lot, I shouldn't get, I don't think as much wheat out of this as I do, but I get a lot of that. And again, we like to revisit things.
That's huge.
And
some days your taste buds are on for this, you want that. Just kind of like food or other drinks. Like, I'm really in the mood for this today, or I'm not.
Right.
So
well, I was equated to music. Again, what are you in the mood to listen to today? Sometimes I want something peppier. Sometimes I want something mellow. Sometimes I want country. Sometimes I want pop.
And tomorrow or later today, that could change.
Absolutely.
For sure. I would, Whistle Pig is another earthy, wheated type of, where that wheat really comes through, that I would put this against maybe the Piggyback, the 6-year, or even maybe the 10-year.
Mm-hmm. But you got to remember, price point is going to be a heck of a lot different on those.
Right. Yeah. But if it is, if you can get this and it's similar to that 10-year,
well, that's
what I'm buying.
That's where I would say with this, have a Jack Daniels, if you're a Jack Daniels fan, and if you're the diehard who like, I like Jack Daniels no matter what, well, you're not going to be swayed. But for, again, $15, buy a bottle of this, try it next to Jack Daniels. I think Jack Daniels is going to be a little rougher. It's going to have a little more kick in the teeth. In a good way, but they've got some very similar profiles. I wish I had a bottle of Jack Daniels here to try. I only have the
this whiskey and no Jack Daniels.
No Jack Daniels. Well, I've got the triple mash and the bonded, but
not the same.
Not the Old 7.
Well, and another thing that I used to do with my Early Times that I would do with this, if you're self-conscious about it, and you do have people over a lot of the times, I have a nice glass decanter that I keep on my bar. That's full of the Early Times Bottled and Bond at all times, and that way nobody even...
Not Bottled and Bond, just the regular Early Times.
No.
Oh, you do? You have the Bottled and Bond in that?
Yeah.
Why are you embarrassed of the Bottled and Bond?
I'm not. It just looks nice on my bar.
Oh, okay.
And I want to go to it. You have the glass top. I don't know. I like the ritual of...
crystal decanter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will honestly say with these that I would not be offended sitting out back, sipping these. This one, like I said, I would have to be in my mood for a more heavier wheated feel. And I don't mind either of these.
I don't either. I wouldn't be upset with a pour.
I really thought going into this video, I thought for sure there was going to be at least one of these that we were going to go, oh, that's no bueno.
That's swill.
Yeah. But I think these are all fine whiskeys. And for the price, again, why not try it?
Right. So that's what I think my next step, like I said, would be to put them against a name brand or something you like, and then compare this to a Whistle Pig or a Weller or another wheated, the Bear Creek, and this to an Early Times or another lighter, smoother whiskey, and then your middle of the road against something there. So what would you put this against if you had to do a side-by-side? That might be another realm of the weeded
Like I
weeded
said,
world for me.
because, like, again, I don't get weeded bourbon. Like, you kind of tend to feel more weeded bourbon, but this may be more of a weeded bourbon.
But there's a smoothness to it.
Right. Oh,
You
absolutely.
don't get that cheap heat where it just burns you on the back end. It's smooth. It stays fairly smooth throughout the whole beginning to finish.
I'm not sure what I'd put that against because I hate, like, Weller 12 year is loved by people, and I think it's a fine whiskey, but I think people have gone crazy over it. And I get that soft subtleness, sweetness that I feel like I'd get off the Weller 12 year.
I'm liking this a little more than my initial taste.
Okay, cut. Okay, so
Well,
we should pour some more of this, just a little bit.
I didn't drink all mine.
Because you've got a drinking problem. You don't know how to drink.
That is a problem. You put the glass back and keep the bottle.
They'll never notice. Is
that
that leveled up? Okay.
So if we're going to say that we should put them side by side, let's put them side by side. We pulled a bottle, and let's put it next to... This I highly recommend. Blind taste testing is super important to remove the bias. And then when you try something new, put it next to something that you actually like and see the differences between them. Not necessarily which one's better, but what do you like about the Weller 12? And then what do you like about the Kentucky Walker? What similarities do they have? And then what differences do they have?
And we know that, like, the comparison on price and everything, and availability, obviously, even availability more than price, there should be no comparison.
No.
But if there's a slight comparison, you know, it's nice to say, hey, let's try this. Okay.
Right. Well, and for me, what I'm looking for is obviously Weller 12's a great whiskey. People love it. They, like you said, have kind of gone crazy over it a little bit too much. The price point's going to be different. But if I can drink Kentucky Walker next to a Weller 12 and go, you know what? They're in the same ballpark. One time when I'm walking through, I'd rather pay $27 for this versus a Weller 12, which, what do you think that's running right now?
Well, people are still paying $250 to $300 a bottle for that, and they should not be paying anywhere near that.
No. It's a great whiskey, but...
I mean, if you want to buy a bottle from me, I would totally sell it to you for $300. But
Right. But if it's in the same ballpark
Right.
and close, I mean, you can have your backup,
yeah,
you know, right there for $27.
drink one or two of these, because a lot of times you also drink something really nice, and now you're not really getting the full flavor, and you're kind of wasting the whiskey by drinking it when you've had a couple. It'd be nice to have backups of different things that you would drink. Anyway,
Right.
well, let's try.
So which one should we have first?
I'm gonna do the Walker Kentucky Walker first, just because that's where our palate's been. Because I don't think they're gonna be real close. I mean, even color you're looking, but
Yeah, look how much darker that Weller 12 is.
absolutely. Okay. Nose is nicer on this.
Definitely.
Okay, I've got to revisit. This is better. It's more balanced, but it's not blowing me away. The aroma blew me away more than the flavor difference.
Yeah, the complexity of it, there's more to it. It's obviously the age. It's aged. It's darker. That's another way to
How long
remove...
did they age the 12 year?
Try my Gazintas. Telling you that it might be, if not in the same ballpark, at least in the same league.
Like, there's a lot of whiskeys that have a huge jump. Like when we did the William LaRue, that was, you know, a slap in the face at how great that was.
Bro, that's
Yeah.
became one of my top whiskeys ever.
Yeah, that was so good.
Yeah.
This last release. But the thing is, the Weller 12 year for me has always been like, it's a nice, solid, rounded.
Yeah.
Easy to drink whiskey.
It's got a good flavor to it. A little complexity. It's not too smooth, but it doesn't kill you on the back end. The finish is nice.
Like the Van Winkle 12-year, like 7-8 years ago, that release, I loved it. That knocked me on my feet, or knocked me off my feet. Hasn't done that for me for a while. And then the old Rip 10-year, this last release was great. The Weller 12-year has never really knocked me off my feet. And I could see myself drinking a couple of these with some friends and switching over to something like this after we've had a couple and them not really noticing, especially if it's late night and we're sitting around the fire.
Yeah. So now what I would do to stop drinking. I don't want you to get
drinking?
No.
He said it.
You shut up. I would never. No. Here's what I would do though. Now that I've put them side by side, they're kind of in the same ballpark. I'm getting them blind. Black Glencairns, I want to test you. And you pull out the Weller 12 versus the Kentucky Walker.
Sure.
I know this isn't going to be super hard to do.
No.
But this is the next step in removing bias. Oh, I'll do the old 3-card Monty shuffle, don't worry.
Also,
I just think this is a great way to remove the bias. You get rid of the label, you get rid of the color difference, and you really genuinely try 2 whiskeys next to each other and have to be honest with yourself of what you like better. So...
Well, and I want to point out one thing. The reason why we aren't able to do this at the same time is because I don't recommend after you've had a lot of whiskeys to do blind tastings then, because we are down to 2 Black Glencairns rather than the 4 for some reason.
Okay. So now I put the Kentucky Walker and the Weller 12 and Black Glencairns, remove the color, the label, all the bias, and you have to just side by side see how close they are to each other and try to guess which one is which. But not only guess which one is which, they're not exactly...
Which one do I like?
They're not exactly the same, but are they close?
They are fairly close.
That's what I'm saying. And for $27 versus anywhere from $100 to $250, depending on who you're getting it from.
So I want to...
Not so easy, is it?
Because I also feel like my buds have gone to crap. Because this one seems smoother and nicer, but it also makes me think, well, it's also because it's not as much age, but this one I'm getting, for some reason, more of the chemical coming out. But it seems like, so...
The last step would be to revisit. So we'd have to come back another day to do that.
Yeah,
We're going to wrap this
not
up
after
with this.
we've been doing that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this is the Weller 12-year and this is the Walker.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is
But
I
the
thought
fact that it
I
was
thought
that
that right
close.
away,
Yeah.
but the fact I actually had to think about it and think about it and think about it, yeah, no. So this we weren't planning on doing this.
No.
Not, like I said, we didn't know what any of these
But
tasted
it's what
like.
we usually do.
Would do, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you do remove bias. You really taste it, because if you just taste one and go, well, I remember Weller 12 tasting better. That's not fair. Try it. Put them next to each other.
So you want to hear something kind of funny? And no offense to whoever designed this label, I feel like this is a cheap looking label. And I thought this was going to be a kind of a whiskey. Like I thought this was going to be better.
They were just banking on the word Kentucky.
Yeah, make Kentucky and then having straight bourbon with the idea
it's not
that
even a Kentucky bourbon.
No. And also Chuck Norris was Texas Walker Ranger, so you got Kentucky and Walker. Come on,
right?
And this pretty bottle. Anyway, I thought this was going to be the throwaway bottle, and this is actually the one that I'm very surprised with. And again,
that was this for me.
Yeah,
I really thought $15 price point. I've seen Silas Jones on the bottom shelf a ton, and I've walked by it.
Yep.
Which is what we're talking about. stop by, pick up the bottle. I would, out of these three, for an easy sipper, if I'm going to get into like my early times bottled and bond
Right.
type of flavor, this is going to be my easy drinker. Nice, pretty smooth, pretty low-key finish, nothing to it. If you're looking for more flavor, wheat, or heat, you're going to want to go with either one of these two. But this is an easy drinker for $15.
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy.
And again, especially if you're going to pour Coke or Sprite or ginger ale or any of that into it. Now, I'm not going to say that with your old fashions because make sure you get a good whiskey for that.
Right.
But, you know, also again, if you like to just sip on Jack Daniels, try this sometime. Or have this be your backup bottle kind of thing.
Sure.
So I was surprised at all of these. Much better than I thought it was going to be. Blew me away. I thought this was going to be the dog. And this one, it has a place in my drinking rotation, like I said, in terms of when I want something that is a little more of that wheat forward.
Yeah. So it's been fun to try all three of these brand new whiskeys. We definitely encourage you to get out, try some whiskeys you haven't had before. Maybe you've heard of them or you've seen them or you haven't. And you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to grab it and try it. I think that's the main purpose of this video.
Well, and again, you know, we watch a lot of the same videos, I'm sure. What are those bottles that somebody passes by all the time? Let us know so we can grab some of those. Or also let us know what are some of those that were your surprise grabs. I've got a couple favorite whiskeys that the only reason they're my favorite whiskey was because I blindly ordered or blindly grabbed them for myself. Let us know some of those secret ones that you have that you're keeping to yourself.
Yeah,
So.
I think the more you try too, the more examples you have of things you like and don't like. And then you can really kind of am in the mood for this today, or when you're
Build your
walking by
base.
the shelf, build your base.
So you find some of those ones that you guys all like. Make sure you pour yourself a good glass, and then don't forget to pour us.
Cheers.
Cheers. I blended them all.
That's not with the 12 different whiskeys.
By the way, I'm glad you poured a lot of the Weller.
Holy shit. But if you watch,
Go.
when we go back to watch the video, I pour it and then I look up at the camera and go,